Rabotai, Parashat Miketz. This Shabbos, we're going to read Parashat Miketz. Just to give some information, Parashat Miketz always fall on Shabbos Hanukkah. On the Shabbos of Hanukkah, we always read Parashat Miketz. One thing very important, if you look at all of these Parsha, you'll never find the name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu mentioned, the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yud Kei Vav Kei, that's Midat HaRahamim. You're going to find Elokim, that's Midat Din, the character trait of judgment. And the Mefarshim explain like this. The main reason for it, that Shem Havaya, the holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shem Havaya, that represent the character trait of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is mercy and compassion, not mentioned in the Parsha. And we find the other name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that represent judgment, represent strength, that's Midat Adin, Elokim, because Yaakov Avinu was in a terrible condition state. He didn't have the Ruach Kodesh with him. Since Yosef HaTzadik disappeared, Yaakov Avinu basically got to kind of a situation that he was so upset, and he wasn't in happiness that Ruach Kodesh disappeared from him, said the Mefarshim. To that situation. Let's start the parsha. Vayihi miketz shnatayim yamim vePar'o holem halom, v'hine omed al hayeor.
It happened at the end of 2 years. Pharaoh was dreaming that, behold, he was standing over the river.
Okay. Let's start with the first word, Vayihi. Hazal in the Gemara, Masechet Megillah, page 10, folio 2, say whenever the word Vayihi mentioned, it's actually referring to pain, agony, and sorrow. Right? In this parsha, we're going to read that actually Yosef HaTzadik been released from jail. Not only that, Yosef HaTzadik bound the ruler of Egypt. The meeting of the brothers, the meeting of everything. So how can you tell me that it was pain and agony? That question been asked by Rabbi Haim ben Attar. Rabbi Haim ben Attar, born in the city of Sali in Morocco 328 years ago. He said, why is it starting with the words Vayihi, that's referring to pain and agony? And the Mefarshim explained like that. He said that, when I said the Mefarshim, I'm referring to Rabbi Haim ben Attar, because he asked the question, we're going to give his answer. He said that until now, the children of Israel didn't have to go to exile. Not only that, now, okay, the 2 years of famine going to start. So those that are going to cause enough pain and agony. Therefore, said the Mefarshim, that's what it starts, Vayehi. But there is another interpretation that Hazal explained, that Yosef HaTzadik had to sit for 2 years, extra 2 years. That was the pain and agony. And that's why the Parsha starts with the word Vayehi. And then it says, Miketz shnatayim yamim. In the end of the 2 years, exactly to the dot, exactly to the minutes. Jeffrey, how's it said? It was in the end of 2 years.
To the day.
Exactly to the day. What does it mean exactly to the day? And we have to understand what's happening here. Miketz shnatayim yamim. It was exactly 2 years to the day. What is that? So I'm going to bring actually 3 different interpretations, and Be'ezrat Hashem, we try to understand what's hiding behind it. Maharam Mishinov was Rabbi Menachem Kalish. He born around 163 years ago, 163, 164 years ago in Poland. And he says something very interesting. He said, you know why Yosef HaTzadik have to sit for extra 2 years in jail? Say, Maharam Mishnah Rabbi Menachem Kalish, he said like this. He said that Yosef HaTzadik needed to sit in a jail for 2 years because after he spoke with the minister of drinks, that in charge about all the drinks to the king, he said to him, remember me and please mention me to Pharaoh. Say Rabbi Menachem Kalish like this. He said, for those 2 words, when Yosef HaTzadik finished to say those words to the minister of drinks, immediately he realized that he put his faith in a human being. And he didn't have the faith in the Almighty. He dove into HaKadosh Baruch Hu that the minister of drink will forget about him for 2 years. Rabbi Yosef Dov Levy Soloveitchik. Rabbi Yosef Dov Levy Soloveitchik, he born 203 years ago, 204 years ago, plus minus, in Belarus. In his book Bet HaLevi, he writes like this. He said, when Yosef HaTzadik realized that he put his faith in a human being and not in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu for every word that he says, Zochreni vehaskireni, for every word that he mentioned, he will sit the extra years in a jail. That's what it says, exactly 2 years. Mm-hmm. But the Mefarshim explains something extraordinary. Listen to that. The Mefarshim say that every morning when the minister of drink used to go to work, he said to himself, I need to tell Paro about the person that interpreted my dream. And as he used to arrive in the house of Pharaoh, he used to forget for 2 years. So what's happened here? That's exactly what Rabbi Menachem Kalish said, that Yosef HaTzadik davened to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that the minister of drinks going to forget exactly what he asked. And what does it happen? For every year he forgot. For every word that he said, the words that every year he forgot. For 2 years, he wake up in the morning and he said, I'm going to tell Pharaoh, okay, about that young man that I met in a pit. Okay. But there is something very important that the Mefarshim say. Miketz. Miketz, the word Miketz means end. But if we take the gematria of the word Miketz, the word Ketz, okay? Kuf Tzadik, it means 190. Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. By that Yosef HaTzadik sit for 2 years extra in a pit, in total 12 years, okay? But those 2 years, he actually shortened the amount of time that the children of Israel have to be in Egypt. It means that he dropped from 400 years that the children of Israel have to be in slavery in Egypt, they actually dropped to 210. That means for every year that Yosef HaTzadik was there, it was almost 100 years. It dropped by 190 years. That means that Yosef HaTzadik sit in a jail for the sake of the Jewish people. By that he asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he can sit for 2 years in a jail because he didn't put his faith in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's what reduced, said the Mefarshim, the slavery by 190 years. And that's what's the gematria of Miketz. Now, if you look, Ketz, the word Ketz is the end. Ketz sam lahoshech, Hazal said. What does it mean, Ketz sam lahoshech? When HaKadosh Baruch Hu decide to put the end to something, Yosef HaTzadik, after extra 2 years in the pit, to the days, in Rosh Hashanah, been taken out of the pit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu have everything plain and organized. Said the Mefarshim, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to put the end for the darkness, for those dark times, to Yosef HaTzadik, it was to the day. The same what's happened, Rabotai, and now I'm going to connect Parashat Miketz to Hanukkah. We explained the beginning of the show, Parashat Miketz, always going to fall on Hanukkah. Why? Because that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the end for the empire, the Greek Empire. Why? Because the Greek Empire was the darkness in the world. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the end to it. But it needed it eruta diltata. That's mean, the Mefarshim, the mystical rabbi explained, that it's needed the, what we call in Hebrew, how would I say the right word, ishtadlut atmit, personal effort, you call it in English. That the Jewish people here, the Hashmonaim, okay, and the Kohanim, Kohen Gadol and the Hashmonaim joined together. There were 70 men, like we explained on Sunday. They started the coup against the Greek Empire. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that they united, the getting together, the salvation came. And that's what it tried to tell us, that if we here, down on earth, going to be united, and we're going to do the ishtadlut atzmit, the personal effort, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us to win every war. That's the Hidush. And that's how it's connected to Hanukkah. Let's go to verse 4. And in verse 4, it says something very interesting. It's speaking about the cow, and that's also something that I'm going to connect to Hanukkah. And look what it says. ותאכלנה הפרות רעות המראה ודקות הבשר את 7 הפרות יפות המראה והבריות ויקץ פרעה.
The cows of ugly appearance and gaunt flesh, very skinny, thin flesh, ate the 7 cows of beautiful appearance and robust. And Pharaoh awoke.
What does it come to tell us? Rabotai, every morning we say in Tfilat Ha'amidah, Al HaNisim ve'al HaNiflaot. Also, we say it in Birkat HaMazon, Al HaNisim ve'al HaNiflaot. Part of the thing that we say, Masarta Giborim Be'ad Halashim. That means people that strong fall in the hand of the weak. Masarta Rabim Be'ad Me'atim, many in the hands of few. Tme'im Be'ad Tehorim, that means those that unpure in the hand of the pure. What is the Hidush here? Said the Mefarshim something very important. It's come to hint to us that, number one, the Hashmonaim started with 70 men. The Greek Empire was in control of most of the world, as I mentioned at the beginning of the Shi'ur on Sunday. The Greek was almost in control of all the world. They ruled all the countries. Okay? It was in a time that the Greek Empire was mamish all over. It's come to tell you the same like here, that the cow of bad appearance, the skinny one, that doesn't look so good, okay, managed to overcome the cow that was in a good appearance, that's mean fat, strong. It's come to tell you that when Akadosh Baruch Hu want to change everything, it's nothing to do. Miracle can happen in a second. And that's what it said, Vayaketz Paro, and Paro awake. How can it be that those weak, those cow with a bad appearance can overtake those solid cow, fat, looking good? How can it be? That's what Akadosh Baruch Hu tried to tell us in Parshat Miketz. That nothing for him is a problem to do a salvation for the Jewish people. And the same like Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef HaTzadik was a slave. Yosef HaTzadik didn't have rights in Egypt. Why? Because in Egypt, a person that is a slave has no rights. He's the weakest person. He only can say yes, sir. He cannot say no, sir. Only yes, sir. That's the only thing that he can say. Other than that, he have nothing to say. He can't say. He said, that's the Hidush. And that's what it's come to tell you. And that's the connection between our Parashat Miketz that always going to fall on Shabbat of Hanukkah. Let's go to verse 9. Now that we're done connecting the Parsha to Hanukkah, let's go and look at verse 9. And here we see something very interesting about the minister of drink. וידבר שר המשכין את פרעה לאמור, את חטאי אני מזכיר היום.
Then the chamberlain of the cupbearers spoke up before Pharaoh. My transgressions do I mention today.
Look what it said, my transgression. What it means? His sin. But the Torah tells us that he done one sin. In Hebrew, it says hata'ai, in plural, more than one sin. What was the sin? Asked the Mefarshim. What are you talking about? You done, as far that we concerned, your only sin that wasn't, you not even, it's your fault, or maybe it's your fault that you didn't check, that the fly flew into the goblet of wine. And when Pharaoh got the goblet, was a fly inside. And that's why Pharaoh put you in captivity. Pshat of the dvarim. Said the Mefarshim, let me tell you something else. It wasn't exactly like that. He said that the minister of drinks, a matter of fact, commit another sin. What the sins that he done? He commit immorality with the daughter of Pharaoh. So if that's the case, I understand. He should be put to death. Why never been put to death? Instead, the minister of baking is the one that does, that they put him to death. What's the Hidush? That's the question of the Mefarshim. How can it be that the minister of drink that committed immorality with the daughter of Pharaoh never been put to death, and the minister of baking been put to death? So the Mefarshim, let me explain to you. They both committed immorality because in Egypt, everyone, Hazal say, Ervat haaretz, like the Torah say, Ervat haaretz, the nakedness of the land. What does it mean? That in Egypt, everyone was involved with immorality. Immorality in Egypt was part of the culture. Say the Mefarshim, the difference is that the minister of baking, that he's in charge about all the baking in the palace of Pharaoh, he seduced Pharaoh's daughter. And then the minister of something just jump on a wagon. But who started all of it? The minister of baking. And that's why Pharaoh killed the minister of baking, and the minister of drinks, he allowed them in the end to be not to be killed. And Hazal explains something very important. Hazal say something very interesting. By the way, just for the general knowledge, what was the name of the minister of drink? His name was Mirod. Mirod, that was his name. I brought you the source from Sefer Hayashar VeHakadmon. If you want to look at it, in page 182, there it's mentioned his name. There's a question here, what it means by the Ber Sar Mashkim? And the minister of drinks spoke to Pharaoh. What it means he spoke? That's the question of all the Mefarshim. What do you mean you spoke? Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. Listen to that and focus, because it's come to teach us something. The minister of drinks kept a grudge to Pharaoh. By that it says Miketz, okay? That Pharaoh wake up. What it mean he wake up? In a previous verse that we read in verse 4. It's come to tell us that Pharaoh used to dream that dream every day for 2 years. And it drove him mad. He almost died. That means his condition, the health condition, was so bad that he almost died. The minister of drink suddenly came and saying to Pharaoh, Et hata'ai ani maskir hayom. My sin, I'm mentioning to you in front of you. Said that at the beginning, the minister of drinks didn't want to say nothing to Pharaoh because he forgot, like we explained. The other thing that he really didn't want to mention it because he kept grudge to Pharaoh and he enjoyed to see him suffering. But when he saw that the condition of Pharaoh got so bad, suddenly he started to open his mouth. Said the Mefarshim, why suddenly do you decide to speak? What's wrong? Said the Mefarshim like this. Listen what they say. That the minister of drink enjoyed to see Pharaoh suffering. But he said to himself, I know that if that man gonna die, I'll lose my job. Why? Because according to the constitution of Egypt, the king can appoint new ministers. Okay? But when the king dies, a new king get rid of all the minister and he appoint a new one. Mirod, the minister of drinks, wait a minute. If that king gonna die, I'm gonna lose my job. I'm not gonna have parnasa. As much that I hate him and I keep a grudge for them that he put me in jail, I don't want to lose my parnasa. Therefore, Dafka now we start to talk, said the Mefarshim. And that's what it said, Vaydaber Sar Mashkim. And suddenly the minister of drink decided to talk. Let's go to verse 17. And in verse 17, here Pharaoh telling the dream to who? To Yosef HaTzadik. And look what he said. Vaydaber Paro el Yosef. בחלומי הנני עומד על שפת היאור.
Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, in my dream, behold, I was standing upon the bank of the river.
And why did Pharaoh have to tell him that he's standing on the bank of the river? Because in a dream, before that, it said that Pharaoh's standing on the river. Come Rabbi Meir Mipir Mishlan. Rabbi Meir Mipir Mishlan, he born in a city, in a province of Lalov. Okay, Lalov is in, it's the main city. In Pir Mishlan, it's right next to it. It's not far from it. That's in the Ukraine. And he born around 240 years ago, 241 years ago. In his book Margenita de Rabbi Meir, he explained something extraordinary. He said that here he wanted to test Yosef HaTzadik. In his dream, he dreamed that he's standing on a Nile, on a river. But when it's come to Yosef HaTzadik, what did he tell him? In my dream, I'm standing on a bank of the river. Say, Rabbi Meir Mipir Mishlan, let me tell you what's happened. Yosef HaTzadik told him, in your dream, you didn't stand on a bank of the river. In your dream, you stood on the river. And that's when Pharaoh knew that the interpretation of Yosef HaTzadik is the right interpretation. Because many of these, advisors, his ministers, his sorcerers, okay, they're all giving him a different interpretation. But he didn't accept it. Said the Mefarshim, why? You know why? Because here Yosef HaTzadik put him on his place. You didn't stood on a bank of the river. You stood on the river. You stood on top of the Nile. What difference does it make? I saw a beautiful answer from Rabbi Shmuel de Ozida. Rabbi Shmuel de Ozida, he lived in Tzfat. He wrote Midrash Shmuel. He born around 478, 479 years ago. And he was one of the earliest students of Rabbeinu Ari HaKadosh in Tzfat. And he said like this, he wrote Midrash Shmuel, and there he explained. He said that from here we have to learn Derech Eretz. He said Pharaoh said that he's standing on a bank of the river. The Egyptians used to worship who? The Nile. They called the Nile their god. He said Pharaoh didn't want to say that he's standing on the top of his god, the Nile. He said that's come to teach us something very important. When we go to shul, we standing in the front of the Almighty in shul, how much we have to respect shul. He said that if Pharaoh didn't want to just mention that he's standing on a river, how much we have to be careful when we go into the house of God, when you go to shul, when you go into Bet Midrash, how much we should treat that place with fear and honor. He said that's the difference. And the Pasuk tried to tell us by that Pharaoh said that in my dream I seen myself standing on a bank of the river to teach us how much respect we should show when we entering the shul. In chapter 41, verse 55, I'm jumping quite a bit. Here, the Egyptian coming and complaining to Pharaoh. Look what it says here. ויקבצו את כל האוכל, אוכל השנים הטובות, הבאות, האלה, ויצברו בר. תחת יד פרעה, אוכל, where is it? I think that I'm in a wrong place. Sorry. I'm in a wrong place. I'm in 35 instead of 45. 55. Yeah.
Is it 40 or
Sorry,
55?
it's 55. Sorry, my mistake. 55. Yes, I'm there. Sorry, it looked like I'm a bit confused today. Look, ותרעב כל ארץ מצרים, ויצעק העם אל פרעה ללחם, ויאמר פרעה לכל מצרים, לכו אל יוסף, אשר יאמר לכם תעשו.
When all the land of Egypt hungered, the people cried out to Pharaoh for bread. So Pharaoh said to all of Egypt, go to Joseph. Whatever he tells you, you should do. Sure.
If you read the Pshat of the Dvarim, you say, okay, people, it was a famine, people complain, they gone to Pharaoh. What did Pharaoh tell them? Go to Yosef, whatever he's going to tell you, you have to do. What is Rashi HaKadosh? Rabbi Shlomo Yitzhaki. He born in Troyes, in the city of Troyes, in the north of France, 984 years ago. What did he say? If you look what Rashi say, we wouldn't understand. Rashi say, לפי שהיה יוסף אומר להם שימולו. They came to Yosef. Yosef said to him, you want food? You want me to provide you with grain so you can eat? Go circumcise yourself. Huh? What kind of answer is that? They come to complain to Pharaoh. Listen, we gone to the minister, to your Yosef, that he's number one, the person that in charge about all the grain. We come to ask him, what does he tell us? To circumcise. What did Pharaoh say to them? Go to Yosef. What is the Hidush here? That Rashi said that Yosef told the Egyptian to circumcise. And we have to understand what is the Torah trying to hint to us? What's hiding behind all of it? So I'm going to bring two interpretations, actually three, but I'm going to start with the Kli Yakar. The Kli Yakar is Rabbi Shlomo Ephraim Milontwich. Lontwich is in Poland. He born 484 years ago, plus minus. He wrote a commentary that called Kli Yakar. He also wrote a book, Olelot Ephraim. But what I'm bringing now, it's from his book, Kli Yakar. And in his commentary, he explained that Yosef HaTzadik tried to answer them like this. They came to complain to Pharaoh. Yosef HaTzadik told them to circumcise, say, Rashi. He said, what's the connection? So let me explain to you what Rashi tried to say. Rashi speaking code. Rashi tried to say that Yosef HaTzadik tell the Egyptian, you know why you are in poverty? You know why there is famine in the land of Egypt? Because all of you are involved with immorality. If you're going to circumcise, he tried to hint to them by that they have to circumcise. That's what's causing the problem. Stop committing immorality. The Chazal asked, why is the Jewish people have to circumcise? Rabbi, I listened to that, and that will help us to understand a lot. Chazal explained that one of the things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded the Jewish people to do Brit Milah on the 8 days, the Yetzer, the inclination of pleasure and immorality when a person is uncircumcised is 100 times more than a person that's circumcised. What did Yosef hinting to them? Go circumcise. But that you're going to circumcise, your level of desire going to drop a lot down. and then there's less chance that you commit immorality. And if you don't going to commit immorality, then the year of famine going to come back. That's the Hidush. But Yosef, on a pshat of that Dvarim now I'm going to speak, Yosef HaTzadik wanted to test the Egyptian. He wanted to know who really starving, who's really not starving. Yosef HaTzadik said to them to circumcise, like Rashi said. He said he wanted to know if the Egyptian, those that come to us for grain, are they really starving or not? Because a person that's starving will do anything. But if a person that said, no, I'm not sure, that means that he hiding some grain. So he doesn't really need the grain. Those that make circumcise, said the pshat of the Dvarim, said the Mefarshim, that's when Yosef HaTzadik given them what? Grain. Supply them with grain. But those that delay the circumcision, that means that somewhere inside the house, in a storage, they have a bit of grain. They're not short. That's why they don't want to circumcise. That's the pshat of the Torah. But I saw a different interpretation, the third interpretation. Yosef HaTzadik zemidat yesod. Yesod, it's foundation. What it means, foundation? Hazal explained, a person that called tzaddik, that he never sinned with immorality. And we saw that Yosef HaTzadik, although that he was the age of 17, when the wife of Potiphar started her nonsense with him, he managed to hold on. Said the Mefarshim something extraordinary. Yosef HaTzadik lived in a naked land of Egypt that was full of immorality. When he saw those people that involved with immorality and the uncircumcised, he couldn't take it next to him. And he forced them to do Brit Milah. Why? To bring the level of desire for immorality much more down. That's why he asked me. And now we can understand what Rashi tried to say. Rashi said, he asked them to go and circumcise. Why? We explained that there's three different ideas behind it. Let's go to verse 42, chapter 42, verse 6. 42:6. I'm jumping again because the time is running. And let's see what's here. The Torah tells us something very interesting about Yosef HaTzadik. ויוסף הוא השליט על ארץ מצרים, והוא המשביר לכל עם הארץ. ויבואו אחי יוסף, וישתחוו לו אפיים ארצה.
Now Joseph, he was the viceroy over the land. He was the provider to all the people of the land. Joseph's brothers came, and they bowed down to him, faces to the ground.
Okay. What's happening here? The Torah tells us that Yosef HaTzadik is the ruler and the provider to the nation. So Hazal tell us something very interesting. Yosef is the ruler, like the Torah said. But Hazal said that the Torah tells us that he's the provider. What does it mean? That he used to sell the grain to the Egyptian. And the Mefarshim asked, wait, Yosef, you're the ruler. You're number 2 in the empire of Egypt, all over the world. Now, you decide that you're going to sell the grain yourself, you have nothing better to do. Put someone else, you're the ruler now. No, Yosef took that job. Why? I saw a beautiful commentary from Rabbi Mordechai Cohen. Rabbi Mordechai Cohen lived in the 16th century in Tzfat, in Eretz Israel, during the golden era of the Jewish people that lived in the 16th century in Tzfat. That's during the time of the Ramak, Rabbi Moshe Cordovero, the Ari HaKadosh, and then all those beautiful giant and great Kabbalistic, like Rabbi Yosef Karo, Baal HaShulchan Aruch, etc. He wrote a book, Rabbi Mordechai Cohen wrote a book, Siftei Kohen, on the Torah, commentary on Parshat Shavua. And he said like this. He said, you know why Yosef decided that he gonna be himself to sell the grain? That he didn't want to happen that Chas v'Shalom will be injustice in Eretz Mitzrayim. That Chas v'Shalom people not gonna get the grain. Will be corruption, Chas v'Shalom. So Yosef HaTzadik said, who can do it better than me? No one. Because if I give it to any other minister underneath me, inevitably gonna be injustice. And Yosef didn't want it. He wanted to make sure that will be 100%, everything will work smoothly. What did he decide? He's gonna sell the grain himself. Another interpretation that the Mefarshim bring, that he want to show the Egyptian self-example. He want to show them how a ruler should behave. That doesn't obviously, that he going to be the leader, and he going to make sure that everything, and he going to show the Egyptian that because he's Midat HaYesod, that tzedek, okay, that he will never cause Chas v'Shalom corruption. If that means anything to South Africa, if I'm just putting it there. Let's go. Let's go. We have 10 minutes. Let me try. I need to do the Zera Shimshon. Let's go to chapter 43, verse 6. Jeffrey, you're laughing, huh? Okay. Let's look in chapter.
Where's corruption?
No, there's no such thing. No. In chapter 43, verse 6. Look what Yaakov Avinu said to his kids. ויאמר ישראל, למה הרעותם לי? להגיד לאיש, העוד לכם אח?
Then Israel said, why did you treat me so ill, so badly, by telling the man that you had another brother?
רבותיי, I'm going to bring the commentary of the Zera Shimshon, Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani. He born in Modena, 318, 319 years ago, plus minus. That's in the north of Italy. And the Zera Shimshon say, if you look at that verse, Pshat of the Dvarim, Yaakov Avinu said to his kids, listen, why did you cause all of this havoc by giving so much information to the ruler of Egypt, that now you have to take your little brother where? To Egypt. Why? Because your brother Shimon is in captivity, is in a jail. And if we're not going to take the little brother, we never see Shimon again. Said the Zera Shimshon, that's Pshat of the Dvarim, what? Yaakov Avinu said to his kids. He asked a very valid question. How can it be that a man like Yaakov Avinu, Hazal tell us in Bereshit Rabbah, Midrash Bereshit Rabbah, Parashat Vayishlach, Behir Sheba'avot, the chosen amongst the forefathers. How can it be that Yaakov Avinu saying to his kids, because you're giving information, that what caused that you have to take your brother to Egypt? Say Rabbi Shimshon Chaim Nachmani, I don't understand. Wait a minute. I don't understand. Stop here a minute. Behir Shebavot, the chosen among the forefathers. He said, because of you, because you given information. We know, Hazal tell us, that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't give a permission to a person, no person can harm other person, and no person can benefit other person. How can it be that Yaakov Avinu said this to his kids? That's mean. Where's the faith in the Almighty? That's the question of Rabbi Shimshon Hai Nachmani. Where's the emunah of Yaakov Avinu? The Zera Shimshon. No, I'll explain to you what's happening here. Look what Yaakov Avinu said to them. What did he say to them? Lama hareotem li. Why? Said the Zera Shimshon. Yaakov Avinu didn't have any doubt that everything is from HaKadosh Baruch. But he said to him, Lama hareotem li. What sin did you make that caused you that now you have to take your little brother back to Egypt? Yaakov Avinu said to his kids, if you have to go back to Egypt and to take your little brother with you back, and your older brother, the second oldest brother, Shimon, is in jail, you've done something wrong. Because Hazal tell us, Megalgelim chova al yedei hayav. That means there's measure for measure. If you done something wrong, that's how they're going to judge you. Because you done something wrong, you have to pay for it. So say Yaakov Avinu to his kids, what sins that you've done that me, your little brother, all of us have to go to Egypt? What's happening here? Come the Midrash. Say, until here was the question that Zera Shimshon asked, and he interpreted what Yaakov Avinu said to the brothers. But now the Zera Shimshon come and explain something extraordinary. He said that the Midrash says something extraordinary. The Midrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to Yaakov Avinu, wait a minute, you're saying, Lama hareotem li. What do you think that, why are you thinking that going down to Egypt is so bad? What makes you decide that it's so bad? Why are you saying that it's bad? And we know, Chazal tell us, En ra'a yoredet min hashamayim. That means nothing bad coming down from heaven. Whatever happened, it's only for the good of us. Said the Zera Shimshon that HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying to Yaakov Avinu, listen, that you have to go down to Egypt, it's only for your own benefit of yours, the own benefit of your kids, and all the benefit of the Jewish people. By that you have to go now to Egypt, who's the ruler there? Who's the provider? Yosef Tzaddik. That will help you and your kids, number one, to climatize to the land of Egypt, because Yosef going to provide for you shelter, place to stay. Yosef Tzaddik going to provide for you food. Not only that, Yosef Tzaddik going to provide jobs to all of you. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu told you to go now to Egypt, it's to make it easy for you to integrate in Egypt while you're going to be there for exile. Hazal, a matter of fact, in the Gemara Masechet Shabbat, Peitet Amud Bet, say like this: Yaakov Avinu was supposed to go. I'll say it in Hebrew. יעקב אבינו היה אמור לרדת לארץ מצרים בשלשלאות של ברזל. What does it mean? Yaakov Avinu was supposed to go down with chains in his hand, in chains on his leg, like a prisoner to Egypt. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu has al kevodo, had a lot of respect for Yaakov Avinu, and he took him down to Egypt with a great honor and privilege. So it's only for your own benefit. Said the Zera Shimshon, and he adding up. אלמלא גלות מצרים לא זכו ישראל לתורה. That means if the children of Israel wouldn't go down to Egypt, to slavery, to that exile, they wouldn't merit to receive the Torah. They wouldn't merit to be Am HaNetzach, the immortal nation. Why? Because by that the children of Israel gone down to Egypt, it was a preparation for them to survive the hard slavery in Egypt, but to prepare them for the next exiles. How to survive in all the exile that we have until today. How to survive by that we got the Torah. If we wouldn't have the Torah, we wouldn't be immortal nation. He says, so why are you saying, okay, that it was for bad? To you, it looks like bad that you have to go down to Egypt. But as a matter of fact, it's only for your own benefit. David HaMelech says something very extraordinary on Sefer Tehillim. And with that, I'm going to end up. David HaMelech says in chapter Tzadik Bet is 92, verse 3, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, to say in the morning, to praise you. Okay? Your compassion, your mercy on us, to praise you for all of that, to thank you. ואמונתך בלילות. That's when it's dark, when it's not morning, and it's difficult, when the Jewish people going through time of darkness, when the Jewish people going through a time of complete darkness in the world. ואמונתך בלילות. In time of darkness, the only thing that's going to keep you there, an immortal nation, is your faith. Rabotai, I would like to end with Hanukkah. We started with Hanukkah. I'm going to end up with Hanukkah, with this parsha. We explained on Sunday that the main purpose of the Greek didn't want to kill us. Antiochus didn't want to kill us. No, he didn't want to kill us. He destroyed Bet HaMikdash, again, but he didn't burn it. He destroyed, when I say destroy, he didn't destroy it properly. He contaminated everything there. Chazal tell us that the menorah disappeared, like we explained. Chazal tell us in the Gemara Masechet Rosh Hashanah, I don't remember the page, that when the menorah disappeared was by a Jewish person, but then the Greek took it. That they didn't have enough money. The first menorah that we explained that they make it from wood. Then they have a bit more money, they make it from silver. When they make enough money, they cost it from gold. Okay. I don't know how many of you was in a Jewish quarter. In a Jewish quarter, if you've been there, not far from Bet Knesset Rambam, you'll see a gold menorah. It's sealed inside the glass box. That menorah been donated by a Russian oligarch. Oligarch is a very, very rich Russian. The value of that menorah, Rabotai, listen to that, $50 million. $50 million, that gold menorah that you see in a Jewish quarter. when I wanted to bring it to Israel, he said to them that it have to be similar what the menorah was in Bet HaMikdash. And they tried to make it with all the shape and everything, but they couldn't make it from one pot. If you look, it's not one full cost. Hazal explained what happened there. Hazal explained that the menorah in the Jewish quarter is actually, if you look at it properly, you can assemble it. It's been assembled. And sorry, there's some noise at the back. I need to mute it. Hazal, they explained that when he wanted to bring it to Eretz Israel, that menorah would break. So you couldn't make it from one cost. So what they done, they brought it in pieces, they assembled it. They assembled that menorah in a Jewish quarter. What do we do in Hanukkah? Hanukkah is a day that we light the menorah every night. On a pshat of the Dvarim, to remind us about the miracle that happened for 8 days from a small jar that was supposed to last for 1 day, lost for 8 days. That's the pshat of the Dvarim. But the idea for us is to show us when the empire of Greek that brought darkness to the world, when the Jewish people got together and they got united and they put their own personal effort, they get rid of a lot of darkness. They brought light to the world. Our job, by that we're lighting the candle, is to bring the light to the world, to be the light to the nation. Because little light gets rid of a lot of darkness. And that's what we're trying to learn from here. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu saying to Yaakov Avinu, sometime you're in a difficult time, in a darkness. You think that it's for something wrong. HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't like you. Chas v'shalom. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, whatever he done, it's only for good. Even in your eyes, it's look bad, and you can't understand a bit more deep, it's only for your own benefit. So on Hanukkah, we're coming and we're lighting candles to tell ourselves that that little candle that we light get rid of a lot of darkness. Even if things is difficult, like it was difficult for the Jewish people in the time of the Greek Empire, the decree that they put, like we say Hag Sameach, take the word Sameach, the acronym of Sameach is Shin, Mem, Het. What does it stand? Tabat. Mem, Milah, circumcision. Het, it was Chodesh. That means 3 main decrees they put on the Jewish people. Why? To make sure that the Jewish people, if they're not going to keep those 3, they're going to forget their identity. It was a dark time in the Jewish history. But because the exile of Mitzrayim prepared us for it, we didn't lose emunatcha balelot. We didn't lose the hope in a time of darkness. By that we light the candle, we're saying we can get rid of a lot of darkness that there is in the world. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the light of Hanukkah, those light of Hanukkah, the little darkness that each person get rid from his own, in his own house, when he light the menorah, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will light on all the Jewish people, Or Gadol, a great light. And he sent Mashiach Tzidkenu. We see the hostages, please ask, those that still alive, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will release them, and they will join their family. Those hostages that passed away, that they will come to Jewish burial. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, please God, will light the entire world with Or Gadol, with a great light, send Mashiach Tzidkenu speedily in our day. Amen. Can you hear it soon? Rabotai, I know that I took 8 minutes over the time. You obviously will excuse me, but I needed to finish the Zera Shimshon with us. If there is any question, please unmute the microphone and ask.
Hello, Zedney, how are you?
Erev Tov, Antonio.
How are you? It says in 41:5, Vayishan Vayachalom, that Joseph slept and then he dreamt. Why does the Torah have to say he slept? It's obviously that he fell asleep. Why does the Torah have to tell us that he fell asleep?
So first of all, it wasn't Joseph that slept and dreamed, it was Pharaoh. Let me correct you.
Oh, Pharaoh, sorry.
Pharaoh. You say Joseph by mistake. Okay. Why does it tell us? No, very good. As I'll explain, by that he slept and he wake and he dream, come to teach us something very important. It's come to tell you, listen to that Pharaoh every night used to dream the same dream for 2 years. In his dream, HaKadosh Baruch Hu used to reveal for him the interpretation. When he wake up in the morning, he forgot about it, the interpretation of the dream. And that's what drove him mad. You understand? The Hidush?
Yeah.
You follow? By that he slept and he dreamed the dream. And in his dream, HaKadosh Baruch Hu even given him the interpretation. But Vayikatz, and when he wake up, he already forgot the interpretation of the dream. He remembered the dream, but he didn't remember the interpretation. Beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful question, Antonio.
Thanks very much.
Pleasure.
Thanks very much.
Any other question? Pleasure. Any other question?
Yes, Rabbi. I've got a very perplexing question. It says, always worried me and again tonight you've answered it in terms of how Rashi deciphers things and how other people have deciphered. But what really perplexes me, Yosef spoke to the wine, the cup bearer of the wine of the fruit, and he said, please mention me.
Yeah.
Yosef had total emunah in Hashem, but you're going to make the hishtadlut. He did that. He had one opportunity to put his foot forward in order this man can go down. He didn't know he was going to do it or not do it, and he knew it's only Hashem can do it. He had total emunah. So how can he be blamed for saying, by the Meforshim, he had not enough emunah? He had total emunah, in my opinion. Sorry.
You have a total emunah. Beautiful question. Beautiful question. And I'm going to try to answer. You know, Hazal teach us that every person, according to his level, he been judged. What does it mean? You know who's judging us on heaven? When you go to heaven after 120? You yourself, you judge yourself. Did you know that? Jeffrey?
Well, not quite in that way, no.
Okay, not quite in this way. So Hazal tell us, after 120, when we go to heaven, if the Mashiach doesn't come, we judge ourselves. For every avera that we done, we get judged. How? We judge ourselves. They're giving us a movie with different character traits, different characters, and it's for us to judge. And as a matter of fact, it's the same act that we done. So every done judge according to his level, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yosef HaTzadik was in a level that he doesn't need ishtadlut. He doesn't need ishtadlut. Like we are, like I mentioned, that the Yevanim, with the war, with the great empire. We need personal effort. Yosef HaTzadik was on a different level, that he didn't need ishtadlut. He didn't need to ask Mirod, the minister of drinks, to mention him and to remember him. By that he mentioned that, please remember me and mention me to Pharaoh, he realized that he done wrong. But if Has v'Shalom, it was any other human being, if he wouldn't do that, he would be judged. Why? Why he didn't done a personal effort? But when it's come to Yosef HaTzadik, it's a different league. From you, I don't expect to put for a split of a second a faith in a human being. That means to do ishtadlut. Everything with you, it's all miracle. By that 1 minute you was a slave, the next minute you've been sold as a slave by your brothers. Then you come to the house of Potiphar. And the house of Potiphar didn't know what's happening in the house. Everything was in your hand. HaKadosh Baruch Hu already showed him that he living in a different miracle stage. When he came to the pit, he was in charge already. So from Shamayim, they hinting to him, you're not like any other human being. You don't have to go through stages. With you, everything go or down or up. And that's what was with Yosef HaTzadik. He been moved from the pit. In a split of a second, he became the next ruler of Egypt, against all the odds, against the constitution. In that case, Yosef, in your level, in kind of spiritual level that you have, you cannot do ishtadlut atzmit. You don't need to do that. You're above that. You already past that level. You follow, Jeffrey?
Yes, but it gives another another deeper question. It gives a question is, in this case of Yosef, it was a lack of his level in Emunah. But in the case of Yaakov, when you did the same thing and they mentioned about, why did you say you had other brothers? Well, you had another brother?
What do you mean? What do you mean about another brother?
What? No, when the brothers said,
when the brothers mentioned about the younger brother.
And Yaakov brought it up and he said, well, you know.
But Yaakov Avinu was saying to them, Yaakov Avinu didn't say because of that. Yaakov Avinu said to them, what sin that you, my children, make that cause you that you have to go to Egypt? Know that he didn't believe. Yaakov Avinu said to them, 100% believe in Hashem, said the Zerah Shimshon.
Yes.
But I don't understand what sin that you guys make that I need to send my little boy Binyamin now to Egypt. Why do I need to go to Egypt? That's why he asked them, why dafka through you? What sin that you done that you given all of this information? And the pshat of the dvarim is like you say, like we explained. Why did you cause so much havoc by revealing so much information to the ruler of Egypt? That's pshat of the dvarim. Said the Zerah Shimshon, it's not like this at all. No. What sin that you made that caused all of that situation to be. That you have to take your little brother to Egypt, that your older brother have to be in captivity. מגלגלים חייו, מגלגל חייו על ידי חייו. That means מגלגלים חובה על ידי חייו, sorry. That if it decide to come because of you, that means that you done something wrong. That's what Yaakov Avinu said to the brothers.
We
Not
never
for
got an
nothing.
answer to that, did we? Because we know why the brothers, that they were brought on a trumped-up charge that they're coming as spies, and they were brought to Pharaoh. Now, what was, in fact, we never told or can understand what their sin was. They only came down.
And you know, Yosef never told his father. We'll see in next Parsha, we'll explain that Yosef never sat with Yaakov Avinu alone. Yosef, for the 17 years that his brother came now to Egypt, Yosef never was with his brother alone. He never put himself alone. You know why? And here you see the greatness of Yosef HaTzadik. Because he didn't want his father to ask, how did you arrive in Egypt? Where did you been for 17 years? So Yosef was frightened if he sit with him and his father going to ask him, he had to tell them that he'd been sold by the brothers. And if the father will hear that the brothers sold him, Yosef was worried that he might gonna curse them. And where Yaakov Avinu cursed, we saw what happened with Rachel, even that he didn't mean. If he was gonna get cross with the brothers, Yosef HaTzadik said, I'm gonna keep my secret with me. No one gonna know. Who's gonna know? Only the 11 brothers. And later on, obviously, Binyamin heard about it. But they took an oath that no one opening their mouth.
So, okay, thank you. So,
You understand? You understand now?
Yes, yes.
Now,
So
now you see how it fit together, the Lego?
So at the end, the answer to that question of what's the sin that you did? The sin was they sold their brother.
Pashut. But Yaakov Avinu never got the answer.
Yeah, never got it. Yeah. Thank you.
You follow?
Yeah. Thanks for a beautiful
You
share.
understand? You understand?
Yeah.
Beseder. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Rabotai, it's 10 to 10. I'm sorry to keep you so long.
Sure.
But when we read this Shabbos, the Parshat HaShavua, we're going to look at it in a different understanding and different way of looking. Rabotai, I would like first just to mention to those of you that still in the show, this coming Shabbos, the show is going to be at Yeshiva College at 5:30 at the main shul. On Shabbos morning, I'm not going to be at Yeshiva College. I need to replace my friend, the rabbi from the Sfarad. He's gone to Eretz Israel. He asked me to stand for him on Shabbos. So I'll be there. I need to talk there. But for the afternoon, I'll definitely going to be at, not definitely, Be'ezrat Hashem, I should say, Be'ezrat Hashem, will give the shiur in Parashat Miketz again in Yeshiva College at 5:30. I hope to see you all. In the meantime, to wish you Hanukkah Sameach to all of you, and obviously to thank you for joining the shiur, and I hope that you enjoy it. So, wish you all Shabbat Shalom, Hanukkah Sameach, all the best, and good night, everyone.